The Latin American and Caribbean region is still considered a developing area. Basically, while the United Nations has no set and established definition of a developed versus developing country, it lists as developed all European Union nations, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the United States of America, Israel, Japan, the United Kingdom, Norway, Switzerland, Gibraltar, and Iceland. The rest of the world, the entire African continent, the majority of Asia, South America, and of course the Caribbean, is listed as developing. This also includes Caribbean tax havens, countries with a very high income per capita, oil-rich countries in the Persian Gulf, and the so-called Asian tiger economies. It is not uncommon, therefore, to sense a general feeling of frustration and disappointment, and the debate is still open. Defining developing countries remains a challenge, and the issue, according to the experts, is as much a political as an economic one. However, while the economic aspects are changing and evolving constantly, the political aspect is a very hard topic to discuss. Any statistics on development of nations worldwide requires a very keen and close scrutiny. Today, we are here to explore what is the developmental situation of our beloved Caribbean countries. The nations in the Caribbean region are extremely vulnerable to climate change and natural disasters such as hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, and tropical storms. When hurricanes hit the Caribbean, they affect the islands economically to an unimaginable extent. Extreme weather events are quite common in the region, and therefore their impact on the economy, population, and infrastructures is very strong. Another aspect to consider, which hinders the development of the Caribbean countries, is the lack of investment in people, which would result in an economic growth and higher productivity jobs. Let's now see which Caribbean nations are the top 10 most developed in 2022, according to the most recent surveys and researches of the World Bank, the United Nations, and CARICOM. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for our future videos. Number 10. Guyana. While the country's GDP has historically been for decades one of the lowest in the Latin America and Caribbean region, oil production is rapidly changing the face of Guyana's economy. A 20 to 40% increase in GDP per capita has been seen starting from 2019, showing how a switch from a merely natural resources dependent economy to a more diversified one is a winning strategy for this country. Poverty, despite being one of the highest in Latin America and the Caribbean, has dropped from 61% in 2006 to around 48% today. Guyana ranks 108th in the United Nations Development Index. Its education sector has seen major improvements, but the healthcare system still has a long way to go. Number 9. Suriname. With an economy heavily dependent on natural resources, namely bauxite, gold, petroleum, and agricultural products, Suriname is a developing country with a quite high level of human development. According to the World Bank, Suriname is a rich, upper-middle income country with a steady decline in its poverty rate, which is at 48%. Suriname ranks 97th out of 189 countries in the world, according to the United Nations Human Development Index, and has a GDP per capita of US $4,836.33. However, it remains one of the most vulnerable countries in the world to the impact of flooding. Number 8. Jamaica. The largest English-speaking Caribbean island and third largest island in the region, Jamaica is considered one of the slowest growing countries, struggling with high levels of crime, violence, and high unemployment. It remains, however, in the higher human development category, with a ranking of 96th out of 189 analyzed countries and territories in the United Nations Human Development Index report. Jamaica's sustainable development goals are being implemented through Vision 2030 Jamaica, mapping the country's progress and advancements in terms of prosperous economy, security and safety, a healthy natural environment, a healthy and stable population, as well as world-class education and training, with an eye on the preservation of culture and traditions. Number 7. Barbados. Ranked 38 in the United Nations Development Programme's Human Development Index in 2013, and the only Caribbean country listed in the high human development category. A few drops have taken place ever since, and the country is now ranked number 70. Historically, there have been a few hiccups in the human development field in this gorgeous and happy country. The 90% fall has been attributed to a series of overlapping crises, including, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks to its high per capita income and flourishing economy, the country remains in the top 10 of the region, but has to pick up the pieces if it wants to go back to higher spots. Number 6. Trinidad and Tobago. Ranked 57th on the United Nations Development Programme's Human Development Index in 2021. Trinidad and Tobago is one of the most developed countries in the Caribbean region, and the second one among the CARICOM countries. Trinidad and Tobago has also the second highest per capita income in the region, but social indicators delay economic growth, and there are substantial areas of poverty. The main challenge for the country's development is the diversification of its economy, as the oil and gas sectors remain the main ones. Nonetheless, the gorgeous Twin Islands state off the Venezuelan coast remains one of the most developed nations in the Latin America and Caribbean region. Number 5. United States Virgin Islands. The U.S. Overseas Territory called USVI or United States Virgin Islands is ranked within the USA, but deserves a listing of its own. The business climate on these islands is very competitive. The Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority unveiled a development plan which targets sectors alternative to tourism, such as renewable energies, health sciences, professional services, through a high-quality education and a prepared, well-trained workforce. Tax incentive programs as well as attractive benefits for companies, employers and employees are part of a great vision. Number 4. British Virgin Islands. The economy of the BVI, based on financial services on one side and tourism on the other, is one of the most prosperous in the Caribbean, and the territory has the 19th highest GDP per capita in the entire planet, according to the CIA World Factbook. Unemployment is down to 8%, and human development is quite high. Human rights are respected, and interference with freedom of speech or democracy basically do not exist. Healthcare is a little limited, and the private sector prevails. The literacy rate is 97.8%, and the education system, which shadows the one on the mainland, is a very efficient one. Number 3. Bermuda. Bermuda, which is a UK territory, seems to be light years ahead of the majority of its neighbors in the Caribbean region. Thanks to an economic partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, the government of Bermuda recently launched a project to spur economic activity for those left behind by COVID-19, such as working mothers, women, youth, and people with disabilities. The unemployment rate remains around 7.1%, and the living standards are quite high. Let's not forget the country has the highest gross national income (GNI) per capita in the world, calculated as US $116,540 in the 2020-2021 Atlas. Number 2. Cayman Islands. With its luxury estate developments and booming economy, the Cayman Islands are among the most developed countries in the Caribbean region. Officially ranked within the United Kingdom as they are a British overseas territory, these three spectacular islands enjoy a very high GDP per capita, US $43,800, and a steady government, as well as a very strong education and healthcare system. They rank number 11 in the top countries with the highest GNI per capita. In 2020-2021, the unemployment rate was listed as 5.1% in spring 2022, compared to its neighboring islands, especially those that are part of the CARICOM. The difference is quite obvious. Before we get to number 1, if this presentation was of some value to you, we would greatly appreciate it if you would give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for our next video. Thank you. The number 1 most developed Caribbean nation is the Bahamas. With a gross national income of US $27,220 and a Human Development Index of 0.814, Bahamas ranked 55th in the United Nations Human Development Programme Index in 2022. It is the most developed country not only in the CARICOM community, but in the entire Caribbean region. The reasons for this high placement are increasing life expectancy at birth, increased average years of schooling, and low gender inequality index. However, The COVID-19 pandemic hit the Bahamas too, and development came to a little halt in the last few years. Watch this video on the top 10 most industrialized Caribbean nations in 2022 and see how the region is advancing in various industries. It is clear how the impact of weather and undiversified economies play a big role on the development of the Caribbean countries. As an example, only between 2019 and 2020, the region experienced 9 Category 3 and above hurricanes, and in 2021, the La Soufriere volcano erupted in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, requiring mass evacuations. The impacts of these situations are very strong on people, infrastructures, public debt and economy in general. Social, physical, and health-related preparedness is a critical investment to reduce the large cost caused by the weather alerts and the challenges of climate change. As a developing part of the world, Caribbean region has been making some progress and keeps moving forward despite the economic crisis on a worldwide scale and, of course, the heavy impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let us know in the comment section below what you think of this presentation and the most developed Caribbean nations. Don't forget to also like, subscribe, share our channel with others, and turn on the notification bell for our next video as we explore the Caribbean region together. This is J-irie Caribbean. Thanks for watching.